All right, we have our esteemed guest today, Dr. Corey Hebert. I'm going to try something different since I'm not going to read his resume. I'm going to have him talk through his resume. But your passion in your job is?
I'm a journalist and a pediatrician and emergency room physician. So the thing that I like to do most is give people information about their health and medical issues, but not just one person at a time. I have to do it with a million people at a time. Or try to.
You recently became an anchor person.
Yeah, it's been a while now. It's been probably about 2 years. I'm the chief medical editor for NBC, the local NBC affiliate, which is the Gulf South region, and 19 other states for Hearst Broadcasting out of New York City. So I live here, and I live there in New York, and then I'm round and round.
But you wanted to be a doctor first.
Yeah, well, this is, can I ask a couple questions of my group first? Absolutely. Any freshmen in the room? Sophomores, juniors, seniors, okay. And any non-traditional students, meaning that you, okay, all right, everybody knows what non-traditional means, okay. How many people are not from New Orleans? Okay, and where are you from?
Chauvin.
Chauvin, very nice.
Amherst, Massachusetts.
Very nice, done a little time there, not jail time, just good.
That's a wonderful jail.
It's a wonderful jail. What part of Tennessee?
Nashville area.
Nashville. Cashville. One of my favorite places. All right. The reason why I ask that is because we all come to the table with a lot of different expectations in life and career and goal. And I'm kind of here as a poster child for why in the hell are you on TV? You're a doctor. How in the hell did that happen? And those types of things come out of who you are as a person and what you really want to do. So anytime that anyone in this room has had anybody tell them, you can't be this because you're this, or you can't just be this because you just can't. People can't do that. Unless you're white and want to be black, and vice versa, you can do anything else, okay? And that's because you have inside what you need to make that happen. Nobody can ever say that you can't achieve, because if there's another human being doing it, you can do it too. All right. So just to back up for me, I was born a poor black child in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and actually, you know, I make fun of that because I speak 2 languages. It's kind of like, well, actually 3, French, English, and kind of like this splice of jive and ebonics, and it's very important because that language, to be able to float in all circles, means everything. If you can't get to people where they are, they will never trust you. I don't care if you're a musician, I don't care if you're a salesman, I don't care what you sell, I don't care what you do. With whichever way you want to deal with it, you have to be able to get to the person that cleans up the hospital and the person that runs the hospital. And you get more work done that way if you do it that way. That's my opinion. So I was born in Baton Rouge. My grandparents lived in a really bad part of Baton Rouge, but they had the house and they owned the store, the corner store. So they had the house where they built it, you know, in like 1920 or something. And then they never wanted to move, so they kept adding on to it. Y'all know that house, you know, with the plastic on the sofa, and, you know, like rooms where you could never go into because it's just for special guests. And so in that neighborhood, they had just poor people. So my grandparents weren't really poor, but that's where they lived. They said if they didn't want to live in a neighborhood where they were not living in a neighborhood where they're taking out of the community, they want to live in that neighborhood as well. So I went to private school. It was all white. I didn't get to be in a classroom with a black person, teacher or student, until I got to Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. Right? So, but I went to that school. My parents picked me up, dropped me off at my grandmother's house in the middle of the hood. All right, and then my mother picked me up after she got off work and took us to our white suburban neighborhood in Baton Rouge. Okay, so you couldn't survive from 3 to 6 p.m. if you didn't know how to like deal with the people that you were dealing with. All right, so I mean, just to give you one example, one time they had a new family that moved to the neighborhood, and they said they saw me and my sister, you know, coming home every day, and we, you know, had on our uniforms every day. So for about 2 weeks, they noticed that. So the parents invited us in, and they said, you know, we noticed you guys have the same clothes. We want to know if y'all have food or anything, so we could, like, you know, give y'all dinner and stuff, you know. And we were like, we'll take dinner, you know. You guys have candy. But they thought that we just didn't have other clothes. And so being able to see that part of America, them able to see, my father is a contractor and architect, my mother was an FBI agent for 25 years. So to be able to see those types of things, then it let me be able to live in 2 different worlds. That still exists. And if you can live in both worlds, then you can really succeed in whatever those 2 worlds or 3 worlds may be. Okay, that's 3, 4 worlds maybe. Because if you, my parents never checked my report card. They never really, all they said was when you're 18, you're a grown-ass man. And so you can either live in a dorm somewhere, or you can live on the street. Because you can't live here. All right, and that's it. And I was like, damn. And I believed them. I really did, you know, and I was like, I got to figure this out. So I know it doesn't seem like it, because Irvin always makes fun of me because I'm short. I don't know why you would ever do that. But I actually played basketball for Catholic high school. I played golf and tennis and wrestled. And then I used to get, you know, I was the only black kid on the team, so I used to get the Oreo chance, you know. But then I played basketball for a semester, which I think he does not know. I played basketball in college for Morehouse College, which is a very small college. I mean, I held Martin Luther King to 10. I
a lot about their basketball.
Exactly. I held Martin Luther King to 5 points.
I just got to say that.
But I realized that, God, these guys are really big, you know, so I can't, you know, they throw the ball at me and I get knocked over with the ball, you know, it's just a big mess. But anyway, I ended up playing tennis in Morehouse. It was the biggest thing I ever did to go to that college, because it you know, sometimes as minority folks in America, you are always around, it's a funny story, you're always the minority, that's why you call that. So, like, and I go to a restaurant in New Orleans, me and my wife are the only black people there, 24/7, it never fails. So, for example, though, it's funny when the table's turned, because Irvin had dinner the other night, and we had a guy there who was a very prominent New Orleanian, and he was the only white dude there. And so we messed with him all night. I was like, how's it feel? But, you know, and minority, it means something, because it makes you stand out a little bit. You kind of, you'll remember whether you are stabbing someone or praising someone. You know, it's one of those things. So always keep that in mind. But whether you are, meaning a minority, like by nationality or where you're born, if you're a person that likes your head shaved like that because it's cooler, right? Or it's the person that you like to wear Birkenstocks or whatever. Sometimes if you're just not the total mainstream, you're going to be out of that group that continues to run the world, for lack of a better term. Don't be scared to be that either, because, you know, we have the occupiers in New York right now. A lot of them are trying to figure out what they're trying to occupy, which is very odd. They keep taking weed breaks, which is also kind of odd. But at the same time, they're trying to do something, and they're a little bit off the beaten path on what they think. They think that the mainstream is bad. So I'm rambling a little bit, but I'm going back. When I got to Morehouse, I realized that I needed to find what I was really good at, as well as what I wanted to be. And once I realized that, I always wanted to be a doctor, but what kind of doctor? What does that really mean? You know, it's a lot of school. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of stress. But I knew I wanted to do that. And once I found out what I wanted to do, and I knew I wanted to do it in a bigger way, because I kind of always wanted to be an actor. You didn't know that either. I said, actors, want to be an actor is a great thing, but sometimes you don't get paychecks. And I was really a good waiter, but I really didn't think I wanted to be that good. So I said, you know, I'll do something so I can guarantee the stability of my family, stability of my wardrobe, stability of being able to provide for the community, being able to write a check for a boys club for $5,000 so they can, do things for the year. Being able to do those types of things is very important to me. And I felt that being a physician would help me get that, so I can take some calculated risks to do other things. If you make $20,000 a year, it's hard to take a calculated risk because you won't eat if you mess up. If you decide to take on a career that is going to be something that no matter what happens, you'll be able to take calculated risks, then you can take more calculated risks and then make some bigger things happen. Before we go off on tangents, I know we only have like an hour now. I want to make sure that we get out what you want me to say, because I can talk. I get paid to talk for a living, so I can talk forever about anything. So
I think you're going to know. I guess what I would want to know is, so why did you pick the profession you picked in medical school?
Okay.
Pediatrician.
Sure.
Why did you decide to do that? And the second thing is, were you realistically prepared for the fact of how much money you weren't going to make for how long you weren't going to make?
Exactly.
Because you start out with this concept, so somebody can look at you now and say, yeah, like,
that's great.
But now you're on TV.
Yeah, exactly. I got bitten by a dog in the face when I was 5 years old. I had probably 6 plastic surgeries, over 200 stitches on my face. It actually, I was I was 5, so this actually, you can see right there, it actually used to go over my cheekbone. And then over here, it went down my neck, so like that. And so I remember, my mom said, I remember very vividly, I didn't really cry or anything. I just was on that table, and I remember the doctor saying, look, your face is bad. Okay, your face is off. And I'll never forget, I was like, you said, but I'm going to fix it. And it wasn't the dog's fault. It wasn't your fault. It just happens that way. So I'm going to fix it. You trust me. And I was 5 years old. I was like, well, this guy's talking to me like, like I'm a grown-up. So it's cool. So I trusted him. And I'm all right. I wanted to be a doctor ever since that day. So I knew I wanted to be a doctor. And I don't like adults. Okay, when you go to medical school, you got to choose whether you like adults or children. You can pick any kind of specialty you want, but adults or children. The reason why is because I don't like adults, because a lot of adults' problems are self-inflicted. And I have very low tolerance for adults saying, oh, I just can't manage. That's why I'm not a psychiatrist, because there's some people that just cannot manage, and that's really something that you got to have an art to be able to be empathetic with that. You have to know who you are, and I'm very like, dude, okay, you have an eating disorder. You're skinny. Eat. And they're like, hey, but I'm so fat. I'm like, no, eat. I'll start shaking them. The head will pop off, and the next thing, I can't. I'm not that guy. I'm also not the guy, if you are a 45-year-old man and you smoke every day, and you've been smoking for 15 years, and I tell you in 15 years in your annual checkup to quit smoking or you're going to get cancer, then you're 46, you come to me, Doc, I got diagnosed with cancer. I was like, told so. You know what I'm saying? Why'd you stop? Why'd you stop? You're a grown man, So I'm not that empathetic guy. Whereas with a child, if a child gets cancer, it's just bad luck. Bad luck. And I'll stay up all night with that family, with that child, to make sure that they get what they need. And some people that take care of adults could never do that because that freaks them out. So everybody has their own thing. So I knew I wanted to be a pediatrician because of that. And the medical school thing, anybody here want to be a doctor? Just curious. Not even close? Possibly? Yeah, it's really not that difficult. A lot, it's just like if you ask anybody that's a virtuoso at what they do, you ask her, you do so well, you win Grammys and you trumpet. How hard was that to get that way? Well, it's very difficult. Anybody that has achieved, they have this swagger that maybe, I didn't. I'm not quite sure you could. But if you really try, anybody, you guys have probably been to a lot of dumb doctors in your life. Okay? All it is you're a technician. Okay? You go to school, you look at these books, you memorize all the information, you regurgitate it back, you pass the test, you're a doctor. Boom. It just takes a long time. It doesn't mean you're smarter. All it means is you have more tolerance for bullshit because you can put up with it for 8 years of college for all practical purposes. All right? So it's not difficult. It's much more difficult to get in than it is to be there. Because once you get in, they've already gotten federal money for you to be there. So if you fail out, that's their problem and their fault. So they don't ever put people out of medical school because it looks bad on them. So if you can get in, you'll make sure. I have a friend that took him 10 years to get through just medical school. They're supposed to take you 4 years, 10 years to get through medical school, and he is practicing somewhere near you. Right? you know when they say what do they call a guy that graduated at the bottom of the med school class? Doctor. All right. So it's one of those things that
makes you feel good about the medical.
Yeah, but it's true. There's always going to be A's. As long as you make straight C's through medical school, you will get a degree. You will. Okay. So you don't have to make A's and B's. So it's one of those. That wasn't me, by the way, for the record. I did really well in medical school. I didn't really do so well in college. I did, pretty decent. I think I graduated like a 3.3 or 3.4, something like that. But I played sports in college. I played golf and tennis and traveled a lot and had fun. And then towards the end, I started to get my mind right. Like, okay, I need to get into medical school. And in my 5th year of college, I decided that it was time. Anybody here going to be in that 5th year? Give it up for the super seniors? It's not, look, nothing wrong with that. Not how you start. How you finish, right? Right. So,
you're a young doctor.
Very, very, very young. And
that is what?
I am 21. Now, I'm 41 years old. I've been practicing medicine now. I graduated from medical school in 1996. So it's been a while. It's been a while, and I enjoy it. It took a long time for a lot of doctors don't make a lot of money in relation to a lot of things that you don't take. It doesn't take as long for you to get to that point. Like you could go 4 years of college, go get your MBA, go to Wall Street, and steal for a living like they do. Okay, and you can make a lot more money. All right, but being in the customer service profession, which is what a doctor is, I'm really a winner. Every day, and it's a drain on you because every day I walk into the room, 30 times a day, someone has a problem for me to solve. That's tough. That's a hard job because every time I walk in, nobody says, I'm just here to say hello. They always say, I have a problem that no one else can solve but you. That's why I do this 2 days a week now, practice medicine 2 days a week. All right? Because it wears you out. That's why the doctors that that practice 5 days a week, they're generally kind of mad. And they're kind of crappy, and they're like, what do you want? They're in the room and out in 10 seconds. But because it's very draining. And for the amount of money that you make, you might make, if you are, a subspecialist, like a pediatric is a subspecialist, right? So, you can, make $120,000 a year. That sounds like a lot to a lot of people, but it's not when you have $200,000 worth of student loans. Okay? It's really not. And I got a scholarship to school, to medical school, so I didn't have that. And, it's a really tough profession because my postman for our house in Baton Rouge, our postman makes about $105,000 a year because he's been a postman for 30 years and he does overtime and all this other kind of stuff, so he makes that kind of money. So he built a house, I think my dad built a house that was like $350,000, $400,000, $100,000 in Baton Rouge, which is a huge, giant monstrosity of a house, and he makes mistakes all the time. We get the wrong mail in our box all the time. You make a mistake as a doctor with a decimal point, somebody can die, it's a wrap. And there are doctors in this city that don't make $100,000 a year. Matter of fact, at Children's Hospital, the certified respiratory nurse anesthetist, who is the person that puts you to sleep, who is not a doctor, makes more money than the pediatrician over there right now. So, it's a thankless profession, but you get thanked because you actually make a difference in people's lives. For real difference. I was at Martin's Wine Cell the other day. Lady said, "You saved my baby's life. I'll never forget your face." Okay. My wife was like, "Here we go." I'm like, "Yes, I did. I remember that." But
why did you decide to come back to New Orleans?
It was the murder capital of the world in 1997. It's close to that now, even though we are number 11 on the list. Baton Rouge is number 12, all right, on the most dangerous cities. But this just came out in Forbes a couple days ago. But when I came back to New Orleans, I wanted to come back because it was the worst place in the United States. I mean, anybody from Detroit? That's the only other place that was worse. It was, and it was tough. It was tough, and so that's really how in life you're going to have defining moments. Okay, you're always going to have them, and when you get to that, when that rubber hits the road, when you have to have those defining moments, you're going to rise to the occasion, or you are going to stumble. You will never forgive yourself if you stumble because you're being lazy. All right, both tears and sweat are both salty. But the only difference is tears get you sympathy and sweat gets you change, right? Who said that? Martin Luther King. All right? It's very, very important that you think about that because you have defining moments. And mine was, I'm an intern at Charity Hospital, and I'm sitting there, and people are coming in all night long, you know, for ringworm, and I'm like, why the hell are you in the emergency room for ringworm at 2 o'clock in the morning? First of all, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Second of all, it's not an emergency. That's why people go into dermatology. There's no dermatologic emergencies, you know. I mean, skin cancer, but that's not an emergency. So, you know, it's why are you here? And I knew that it was because they didn't understand. Nobody wants to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning with a dermatologic problem, okay? Because it's not a problem, but they didn't get it. And I got sick and tired of telling each person one by one, and driving me crazy. So I went to. Remember this, y'all? You guys are probably too young for a movie. It was called Wayne's World. Right? Remember they had a public access television about rocking out or whatever. Anyway, well, I went to public access TV here in New Orleans, and I was like, look, I want to start a show called Urban Pediatrics, and I want to talk about pediatric issues in New Orleans. I think it's very important, and they were like, it's a great idea, Dr. Hebert. But all you got to do is give us $150 a month for production costs, and then we can get it going. Now, as an intern, I was making $22,000 a year. I was married, I had a son, $100 a month, $100 a month. That's a big deal, all right? And so my wife was like, no. Absolutely not. You're trying to live out your actor fantasies, blah, blah, blah. That's why she is not my wife anymore. And every time she sees your Dr. Oz, she wants to stab herself in the neck. But I love her. She's a very sweet lady. She'll always be great. But I said I have to decide on what I want to do. What's most important? The kids of New Orleans or an extra pair of Prada loafers? That's where I was, okay? And I said, kids of New Orleans. All right, and so I did the show. It started out on channel 185 at 2 o'clock in the morning, but I put a lot of work into it. Then after about 3 years, it went, after about 2 years, it went to channel 77. Then after another year, it went to channel 42, and then at the very end, for the last 3 years of the show, it was on channel 8 at 6:30 on a Saturday night, which is the most watched slot. And then Hurricane Katrina came and wiped it all away. And then WDSU called and said, we were going to be talking to you before this, but it was like 3 days after the storm. We need you to come on because we like what you do on the channel that you're on, but we really want you to, when you come into NBC and do some stuff. And it was 10 o'clock at night. I was tired as hell. Another defining moment because my clinic was not destroyed through Hurricane Katrina at all. We were like Forrest Gump after his storm. Everybody was washed away. We were the only people standing. So our practice probably maybe 7 times. That's how big it got. 7 times what we had. And so I was tired and I had an eye injury and it was just horrible. And it was 9 o'clock at night and they said, come to the station at 10 o'clock to do a live broadcast. And I was like, anyway, defining moment. Do I do this or am I lazy? I went out, I did it. Did that for a year. It seemed like for the first 3 months I was on every other day. And then when things started getting better, I was on another show called 670 Side Live. And the 670 Side Live was canceled because the money ran out. Then Hearst came calling and said, do you want to do this for the nation? Now, after that, I'm one of the doctors for the Dr. Oz show. All right, I do the Today Show, the Discovery Channel show, How Stuff Works. That's my show. And the Lifetime Movie Network, Lifetime Television Network show called The Balance Gang. I'm a doctor on there too. So all that, makes you a good amount of money. It gets you all your work, all your information that you want to get out. It gets it out. And I could not have done all that without stepping up in my defining moments. No matter what you do, though, whatever your craft is that you want to do in life, make sure before you start venturing out that you're the best at that craft, whatever it is. Because if you're not a virtuoso, okay, you can't win a Grammy. Well, in his field, because there are a lot of non-virtuosos winning Grammys, but in what he does. But at the same time, it also won't allow you to own 2 clubs. It won't allow you to be appointed at a university to run a program. You know, you have to be the best at what you do, and then you can start making lateral moves. But if I wasn't known, in circles as that's the best pediatrician in New Orleans, I would never have been able to do the things that I did. And whether I'm the best pediatrician or not in New Orleans, that's up for debate. But enough people thought I was to make it happen.
Give me your general assessment, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions for students. Mm-hmm. Give me your general assessment for the class of New Orleans, just as a resident and somebody who's, a spokesperson and.
New Orleans is.
And I say that because typically your answer is always very different with both people.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think they're going to find this very interesting. It's probably very different tide from the Kumbaya song most people have.
Yeah, let me tell you something, man. I first of all, let me start off by saying I love New Orleans. If I didn't love it, I would have left. I could leave right now, okay? However, and that's a big however, New Orleans is steeped in nonsense. It's steeped in corruption. It's steeped in racism. It's steeped in disenfranchisement. It is a real bad place. It's a hard place to live. It's a dangerous place to live. One of the things about New Orleans that's good is that they don't have a lot of people doing good stuff here. So if you just happen to be one of the top 3, hell, you're the king. I mean, you could really be the king of New Orleans in 5 years because they really don't have a lot of kings. I mean, you start something new. Most places, I'll take for example, like the Hornets, right? When I go to like Chicago, and they tell me, so Corey, we're gonna come down, we're gonna go to the Hornets game. You have season tickets, right? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, here we go, nosebleed. I was like, no, I'm the second row. How now you get second row seats? I'm like, yeah, they only cost $4,000. $4,000! Because in Chicago, you can't even get those seats. That doesn't even exist because it's such an old city with a lot of money. You can do things in New Orleans that you can't do other places. But do you guys know that in New Orleans East, that's where Disney World was supposed to be? Mm-hmm. You don't know that? That's real. And why did it happen? Penises. Penises. If women ran this stuff, government, we'd be singing Welcome to Disney right now. But men are very territorial and very testosterone driven, and it's a real problem. So they were like, no, I want my part. No, I want my part. No, I want my part. Okay, now we don't have anything. All right? That is a problem. Same thing with this new hospital. All right? This new big hospital situation. Everybody's going, oh my God, it's going to have a great new hospital. That goes against everything that we're trying to do in medicine. Everything. You go to another city, I defy you to go to another city that's going to build a state-of-the-art $2 billion hospital in the middle of an urban center where nobody comes downtown for any reason on the weekend. Tulane is a really nice hospital. We can't get a person from Metairie to come to Tulane. We can't get a person from North Shore to come. So now all of a sudden you're going to build this right underneath the bridge damn near, and you're going to get people from Mandeville who are going to go check out the hospital. Yeah, they're going to come check it out and see where the tax dollars are going, and that's it. Because nobody goes against everything. We're trying to get hospitals, smaller hospitals, in outlying areas and more clinics to prevent you to have to go to the hospital. Prevent you from having to go. Because going to the hospital costs a lot of money. But as a physician, it's a really bad, I'm compromised. Because if I treated everyone and nobody got sick, I wouldn't have a death line. Right? It's a very conflicted deal we're doing here, because if you cured all illness, no doctors would be able to make any money, and that's a conflict. All right,
you've given enough of some good questions. I'm quite
okay.
Try to make sure you keep your job.
Yeah. Oh no. But by the way, I said that this is actually really important. If you go to other hospitals around the country, like Bellevue Hospital in New York City. That hospital was built the same time Charity Hospital was, and the same Art Deco style. Their hospital was downtrodden, horrible. They gutted the hospital, gutted it, not totally gutted it, but almost gutted it, put a big new atrium on the front, and it is a beautiful hospital, and everybody goes to it like it's not a big deal because they preserved it and put with the architecture and everything else. Tulane Medical School sits on one side of Charity Hospital. LSU Medical School sits on the other. It's all connected underneath. Both those two buildings are up and running, but Charity is broken. It's not broken. And the company that did the Dubai Convention Center, biggest convention center in the world, the Beijing Convention Center where they had the Olympics, they were commissioned to the state of Louisiana to evaluate whether Charity was a viable option to redo it. They went in, said if we gut Charity Hospital and redo it, we'll make Charity Hospital the most state-of-the-art hospital in the entire state of Louisiana with a level 1 trauma center, put a big atrium on the front of it for the cost of $300 million. It'll be open in 3 years. They said no, we'd rather, and then the state would own it, as opposed to what they're doing now, destroying neighborhoods, building a hospital, taking out bonds that we won't own for $2 billion, and you have it in 10 years. And it goes against everything that we're trying to do across the board for the feds to say that we want to try to prevent people to go to the hospital. So I'll let you say. Oh, so I said that on the news in a story, like one of those I-Team stories. You know, I was over the story, and I was like, and I said, so for the people that are watching, let me break it down to you really. Basically what you're doing is paying your tax dollars to take care of the homeless and indigent population of the city of New Orleans. Now, if you want to be altruistic like that, I really appreciate it. However, that's what you're doing. So they were like, ooh, I never thought about it like that. So then I started getting the death threats. Saying they were going to kill me. Shut my nigger ass up. And they came from other medical schools around the state. And I'll just leave that at that. So it became a real issue.
All right. You ready?
Sure.
Word association. What is your favorite word?
Word association.
That's 2 words.
Word. No, my favorite word is, and these are a few words.
Go ahead.
Get her done. Get it done. I don't want to hear that you cannot get it done. I don't hear. No excuses. Sick? Your mama died? That's the only one I want to hear. Get it done.
What's your least favorite word?
Can't do it. I don't know how. Those are those words. I'm sorry.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Women turn me on. All 3 of those. All right. However, creatively, a challenge. Spiritually, quiet turns me on. Just quiet. And what was it like?
Emotionally.
Bond with another person. I'm Scorpio, so that means I'm very, well, you know I didn't. Very spiritual. If I love, it takes me a while to get to love you, but if I love you, I'll kill somebody for real, and I'll be very loyal. But if you mess over me, cut you. Some deal. Never cut you again. Would never care if you live or die.
What turns you off?
Ooh, that's a tough one because I'm always on. I'm very positive, but what turns me off is it's something about people. I can't put my finger on it. Mark ass busters.
Translated into English.
People that are like haters. Haters. I'm picking up 5 new haters every day. Every day. How you get to do what you do and what?
What is your favorite curse word?
I drop a few F-bombs. I'm an F-bomber.
What is your favorite curse word?
What did you hear that? Yeah. F-bombs.
What sound and noise do you love?
Waves.
What sound and noise?
What, like these? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. I like raindrops, and I like the waves. I'm a water person. Anything having to do with water.
What sound and noise do you hate?
Gum popping. my wife pops gum, and we have arguments about it. Like, look, I can't handle it. It's a deal breaker.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Race car driver.
What profession would you like not to do?
What would I like not to do? I don't like to do what people say. So any profession where I have to listen to what somebody else says, anything. I don't like, somebody says do that. No. You do it.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Man, where you been?
Questions for Dr. Hebert.
Oh man, that sounds
Working with children, you mentioned cancer. How do you deal with it when you're not successful?
That's a very serious question, and no one ever asked me that except my sister. My sister said, you come home, how do you deal with that? It's one of those things where, and working in the emergency room, I'm an emergency room doctor as well, people die all the time. They die all the time. And have you guys ever heard of this concept of somebody called a sin eater? Where they just listen to everybody else's sins and then they have to go away and then get all those sins out of them by however they want to get rid of them. I'm that way when it comes to taking in people's anxiety and fear. I'm a Christian, okay? Even though I dropped the F-bomb, I'm still a Christian. And it's really important that we must keep our minds focused. You got to choose in life whether you're going to believe in the afterlife or not. Because if you don't believe in the afterlife, there's no reason for you to be. You should just be lawless here. You should. There's no. If you don't believe that there's a reason for you to be a good person, then you really almost shouldn't be one. And if you do believe that there's a reason for you to be a good person, then dying should be something you would embrace, because when you die, that means you finally get to where you are trying to get to. So when I explain that to someone in a child who just died, I'm like, you want your child to finally get to where you're doing so much on this earth to get to that place. So now your child is there. Be happy that your child is there. And if you believe what you really say that you believe, then you know that you will see them again. And if you don't believe that, then go out and rob a damn liquor store, or go out and treat people like shit, or do whatever you want to do, because you're only doing that because of a false belief that you have in what is right and what is wrong anyway. So I come home and I cry. I will cry like a baby, because that releases that for me. When the patient is dying, I'm preparing myself. They always tell doctors, don't be emotional. Don't be emotional. When a patient is dying, the people need to look at you and know that you are the one that's making decisions. I'm not falling out, but what I am, I will, in that time, when I'm having my hands on that kid, and I know that eventually in the next 5 minutes he's going to die, because we know how that works like that, I will put my hands on him and I will feel that spirit leave that body. And you can't help but feel emotional when that happens. It's real. And when that happens, I'll lose a tear. But and I think the parents appreciate me being who I am. But it's very hard to do that at the beginning. But after you have realized how fleeting life is, then you embrace the fact that that person is actually, you're envying that person that just died. Because you are doing everything in your world right now so that you could be right there where they are. And it's a hard concept to kind of wrap around, but that's all.
Next question. Dr.
Well, first, where is your practice?
Tulane, downtown.
Okay. And what do you think, what's your analysis of the trend of parents not getting their children inoculated?
Oh, mercy. Okay. If you guys have heard of the New England Journal of Medicine, if you pay attention in this is October, it will be in the March issue. Dr. Corey Hebert stance on inoculation in the historical perspective on the cover of the New England Journal of Medicine. This is a big deal. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's a risk involved in everything that you do, okay, including vaccination. However, the people that are parents now don't remember polio. Okay? They don't remember smallpox. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a risk with everything. But in 1900, the odds of you dying from a vaccine-preventable illness as a child, as a baby, was like 1 in 3. 2012, it's 1 in 400. That's not because we just found Purell. That's not just because, we started washing our hands. That's because of vaccination. The United States lost 1 million people in 1 year to influenza. But you don't want to get your damn flu shot. Because you weren't there when 1 million people died in 1 year from influenza. The flu shot will give you the flu. Damn lie. The flu shot cannot give you the flu. The reason why you think that the flu shot can give you the flu is because you never had the flu. Getting the flu shot, you get a feeling of, I don't feel so good for about 2 days with a little slight fever. That's not the flu. The flu is on your back at 106 degrees fever, not being able to move, with meningitis and dying. That's the flu. So the only thing about the vaccination thing, because I can't tell you that, because the whole concept is the MMR causes autism. That's the whole concept, okay? MMR causes autism. That's the measles, mumps, rubella shot. Causes autism, quote unquote. The guy, Dr. Wakefield, that came up with that in Britain about 14 years ago, the only thing we know is that he's a damn liar. That he came out and said he was a liar and totally said, my bad, I was just joking. Okay? Now, we don't know if vaccines cause autism. What we do know is the only dude that said that they did is a damn liar. Alright? Which, just like with anything else, news is on the front page. The retraction is on the back page. Okay? And so, with that being said, I am a huge proponent of vaccines. How you give the vaccines, meaning I don't want my child to get 5 vaccines today, I support that. Okay? I support however you want to do it. What I don't support is you saying, I want to ascribe to the lady who got her PhD at the Playboy Mansion and Hugh Hefner was her damn, her child has autism, so and she's on TV and writing books saying that that's what happened. With her cohort of 1, is statistically insignificant. Now, I'm not trying to disparage that woman because her child has autism for real. But he also had cerebral palsy at birth when he was born because of a anoxic brain injury. Okay? Would he have gotten autism from that? I don't know. Would he have not? I don't know. The point is, you can't listen to her. One woman from California against 100 years of preventing illness throughout the world. Let me tell you, if you really want to see a vaccine issue, go down to Honduras and tell them, I don't believe in getting vaccinated. When you get your ass up off the ground after they slapped you in the mouth for being ungrateful, but yet you live in the United States, you'll be like, damn, okay, maybe I'll rethink this. Because people are dying from tetanus in Honduras right now because they don't have a vaccine. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off.
I just wanted to point out a lot of people don't get their children vaccinated because they don't have the money. I know you already know this because you work for Tulane, but the Ronald McDonald House Children's Charities has the Careermobile. They give inoculations to children and their parents free of charge.
Free of charge. And let me tell you something. If anybody you know says to you, I can't get my child vaccinated because of cost, tell him, he'll call me, I'll come to their house. That's how serious it is. Because right now we have an epidemic of measles, mumps, and rubella around the United States. 15-fold in the last 5 years. People don't realize mumps causes orchitis. You don't have the balls. They die, basically, so you can't have babies if you get the mumps, and you get that. If you get the measles, you get subacute sclerosing panencephalitis that killed 1 million people around the world 15 years ago. Right? Rubella, if you get rubella and you're pregnant, your baby's going to die. Okay? Your baby in utero is going to die. Right? So, now we have people having MMR because Jenny McCarthy and the dude that was a damn liar now said that you don't want to get the MMR. But my thing is, this is how ignorant it is over time. I had a little girl about a week ago, she was 11 years old. And she was like, I don't want to get the meningitis shot because I don't want my child to get the meningitis shot because she's going to get autism. First of all, your child is 11 years old. You think she's going to become autistic at 11? Come on, man. Come on.
Next question.
Yes.
What would cause it to be autistic?
The baby?
Yeah, like how the shot make the months.
They said there's no mechanism of action that they proposed. They just said it's a temporal. They're in relationships. There's temporal and causal. Okay. For example, if you have, we did several studies on 200,000 kids. People want antibiotics because antibiotics make them better when they have a cold. Okay? That's not really true. But what happens is you have a cold for 4 days. On average, the 4th day you're like, oh man, I really don't feel good. I got to go to the doctor. You call the doctor. You can't get in that day. You get the doctor on the next day. That's the 6th day. Okay, on the 6th day, the doctor says, look, you're going to start feeling better, on your own. No, I want some antibiotics. You get the antibiotics, which is usually amoxicillin, which really won't treat nothing. No antibiotics treat colds because colds are caused by viruses. Okay, so you get the antibiotics on the 7th day because you go to Walgreens, call in, you can pick it up the next day. You get the vaccine. You get the antibiotic, and then you start feeling better by the 10th day. It was the antibiotics. No, it wasn't causal. Okay, it was temporal because you're gonna get better in 10 days when you have a cold anyway. You see what I'm saying? So all we know is that there's an increase in children around the age of 18 months that get a cocktail of vaccines that have an increase in autism. We don't know if the vaccines are causing that or not, because the people were getting those vaccines for about 20 years before we saw the increase. People said it's the mercury in the vaccines. The vaccines had more mercury in 1950 than they do now. Okay? So, in my personal opinion, what do I think causes it? I think a genetic predisposition with a decreased immune system at the time, coupled with 5 vaccines at one time that hits the immune system. That's what I think caused it. Okay? But I can't prove that. Neither can anybody else right now. So I think it's very important that we know. We don't know what causes the autism, but we do know it is increasing. But just like you have to remember, it's increasing because people are becoming more and more aware. When I was in school, they had all the kids that were quote unquote slow were in one classroom. And they were called the resource kids. And then they had all these other things. They were sitting there, they ride the short bus, and they were all off to the side. All right? Now, you have federal law that said that can't happen. So now those kids are being included into the regular kids, and those children have an increase in being diagnosed with autism. So is autism increasing, or the diagnosis of autism increasing? Is ADHD increasing, or the diagnosis of ADHD increasing? Because we all know the kid that was in our class in the 1st grade, 2nd grade, who we knew had ADHD, who was just bouncing off the walls and running around. Okay? Doesn't mean he wasn't smart. Just mean he had ADHD. But he wasn't diagnosed in 1976 when I was in 2nd grade. He was considered a badass kid. They whipped his ass and then he dropped out of school and now he's on a job. But now, put him on some medicine, hell, he's George Bush. That's it. Exactly.
Next question.
All these things are going to come out. Exactly. Yeah.
Don't run for office.
It's too late. Yes. But you had some real quick.
Yeah, you said around 18 months you start to recognize that a kid may have autism. Like, what are some signs that you look
Not being able to look directly in your face, not making that bond, wanting to stay by themselves, head banging, appreciating water, like they like the water drops, like they want to hang around the faucet. Those are very subtle signs, but really that lack of a bond between the mother, father, and the child, and lack of eye contact. You can't make the diagnosis until they're 4 years old. But around 2, I've been pretty good about saying there's something not quite right here. And then it usually ends up some type of spectrum disorder, meaning autism or the autism spectrum.
So you said head banging?
Head banging can be it, but there are some kids that, it's got to be the collage, the tapestry, different threads running through the tapestry to say that all these things coming together. Because there's some kids that head bang that just happen to like Metallica. But boom, sorry. Yes.
Starting off the presentation about yourself, you're letting us know a little about your early childhood and growing up. I just kind of want to know, how do you think that you went about becoming so socially, I'll say, gifted? You seem very energetic and everything, very positive, and I kind of want to know, why do you think so about yourself?
Honestly, I think it had to do with being able to. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. I think it had to do with being socialized in a way that you must respect everybody. You respect everybody. And just because somebody, I mean, there's some organizations in New Orleans that really are only the elite can join, and they ask me to be in them all the time. And I'm like, I remember a Zulu. Because postman, the carpenter, the doctor, the lawyer, everybody's there. I like that. I think that's important. I think that teaches you humility. I think it teaches you to stay in touch with people that don't have as much as you, even though they don't have as much maybe economically or financially, but they have maybe a lot more than you do spiritually and also as well socially. So I personally think that being in that situation where I had to be able to relate to everybody in the room, and you have people that made $1 and people that made $1 million, I think that's invaluable.
So you think it's mostly like humility, being able to laugh at yourself along?
Exactly, because I laugh at myself a lot. Probably not more than him. I mean, he laughs at me more than I do. But I think that laughing at yourself and just, I like to be funny. I like to really make people laugh. I tell a lot of jokes. I mean, I think I just have to keep things light. Keep things light and don't take anything too seriously, because tomorrow is gone. Economically, spiritually, your life is gone. And I see people die every day. Every day. So, there's no reason for me to be worried about anything.
Last question?
Sure.
Anybody? Going once? Going twice? All right. What's your stance on the healthcare? Got one?
Yeah. You were mentioning that you work on a lot of TV shows. I think you could give me your card after class.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, what are you doing Friday at 2 o'clock?
This Friday?
Yeah, well, the reason why I'm asking is because Dr. Oz is coming to town, and WDSU doesn't. How much? Oh, well, anyway, I'll take that off. Because Dr. Oz is on another station.
Yep.
Okay, it's hard to get the stations to agree on things now, because Dr. Oz used to be on another station. So I have an interview with him that I may or may not want to take. But I'll give you my card, and we'll see.
Cool.
We'll see, because I think being able to. That's one big point too. I'm not a big person that likes a mentor. It's not going to tell me anything. But you need to have somebody that can lead you. You don't have to listen to what they have to say. You just have to have them say, this is all the stuff that's out there. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what's out there. And then you can choose whatever you want to do. Some people like to be led. Some people like that mentor. I personally don't like it. I just like you to say, I want all my options laid out, and that's what my mentors do. Don't tell me what to do. Tell me what I can do.